That is John H. Pierre, TV Beer Rambler, Mobile, Alabama. And this is your host, Thomas Metal 75 from Massachusetts Beer Reviews channel of YouTube. Well, it's really Thomas Metal 75, but you know who I am. Wednesday nights we drink beers, not cream sherries or whatever, but we're gonna leave that be. John Anile and Jay Terrio, Louisiana Beer Reviews. And I don't know who else that's doing the cream sherry examination on Jay's channel. Will shortly be joining this channel. And Michael Komarov from Brooklyn, New York said he was going to join, but he is on vacation, I believe, in the great state of Florida.
Good.
So
Little VK.
he
Spending
might
time with the
show up.
family.
Who knows? Today's beer topic, as John his beer, is Founders Brewing Company. There's the neck of a bottle from Founders Brewing Company.
I'm going to sip on this one a little here, a little bit of there, and not guzzle all of it because it's that kind of strong beer. So I'm sorry, Eric.
Have the Dirty John H. Pierre TV Rambler has the Dirty Bastard, which is a Scotch style ale, according to the Founders Brewing website. 8.5%, 50
Correct.
IBUs. Rate Beer gives it a 98 apparently, and it's a year-round beer. The beer that I'm enjoying this evening, I think I've only had it once in my life, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is their single hopped beer called Centennial IPA with 7.2 ABV, 65 IBUs. It gets a 99 on Rate Beer, and it is in year-round availability. And this particular bottle says bottled on 5/29/2018. So when I bought the beer, that was a pretty fresh bottle of beer. The rest of the beers that I saw from Founders and Singles were not so fresh. What does the bottle of the Dirty Bastard say for an age? Jean H. Pierre.
What do you mean by terms of age or date? You mean? What do you mean?
Yeah, the date on it. What is it? It should be on the back, right on the back label of the bottle.
It says, as of right now, the 24th of August, 2018. So it's fresh.
Excellent. Now,
so this is a lot stronger than I think that. What was it? The Backwoods. The Backwoods.
The Backwoods Bastard. Yeah, the Backwoods Bastard. Correct.
Yeah, that was a little bit. That was really kick-ass. When I had that one, I did a review of that one, and I think I might have done a review of the Dirty Bastard. But yeah, I've had the Dirty Bastard before. Yeah, I mean these Scotch ale, wee heavy style beers. To me, I mean they're great and available year round. But to me, I'm more fall winter with these style of beers than say during the summer. That's just my view of it. Because of the ABV of it. It's more sip and refrigerated temperature, or maybe just a little bit outside, leave it outside on the counter and let it kind of get, warmed up just a little bit. And then you can sip on this. This is not a summertime brew. You can guzzle a few back and then, hey, let's go, let's go in the pool or, let's just do something, hey, let's go run, drive some fireworks where you probably may not make it to the park because that's how strong this beer is,
Make it to the fucking park, right. So just a little bit of information here is that Founders Brewing Company started in 1997 and by Mike Stevens and Dave Engbers, and I guess Founders Brewing Company at this point in time has a 30% majority stake in the company from Mahou, Mahou San Miguel. So technically, because of 30%, you now are able to call Founders Brewing Company no longer a craft brewery by the terminology of the Brewers Association, which requires that craft breweries not to be more than 25% owned by a macro brewer. Just screw that. It's good beer. I think my assessment before we get into our two beers is that I think that these are, I think going into this examination that Founders does a really great job on somewhat of a larger scale than most. And I think that they're pretty crafty beers that they do beers that appeal to a lot of people, and they do really, really, really crafty things that the craft beer community loves. So I have very good thoughts on Founders are not the cheapest beer, but by far they are not extremely expensive either. So that's my
They're
2
not.
cents. And what's your thoughts on Founders going into the examination, John?
Well, like I said, of course, you probably mentioned they're based in Michigan, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Of course, the heart of the Midwest. They're, again, a lot of their beers are very appealing. I think, as you mentioned, the Sentinel IPA, as well as the All Day IPA, which is very light of the 2 IPAs out there, very enjoyable. Yeah, Centennial. And then you have the All Day Session IPA, which is lighter than this, but I think it goes with anything. All their beers are really, I've had, even the Solid Gold Lager, which is now becoming more readily available. And I think we had this discussion last week, not to get off topic here. I know you mentioned about the brewery, but that a lot of these craft breweries now seem to be doing a lot more lager style, I guess, trying to compete. I don't know, because people, hey, it's that time. Everybody likes to have a lager, something very easy drinking to knock a couple back. And yeah, the Founders Solid Gold Lager runs about like seven something and change for a 6-pack, but they're, compared to some, maybe expensive, maybe high for some of the brew, but overall I think they're about reasonably priced if you can get it. I paid for this bottle $1.99 for the 12-ounce bottle. It was just one of those things I just had to get. It's like, okay, I'm not driving around town to get this beer to get Founders, so I see it's right here, this little store here, so let me go ahead and grab it and be on my way. So
yeah.
But anyway,
so
yeah, all their beers.
Tell us about the or any concluding thoughts there.
Yeah, like I said, anything that Founders have done, I've always enjoyed. I haven't had their KBS yet, but everything else, I've had the Centennial, I've had this before, I've had the Backwoods, and the All Day, and the Solid Gold. So overall, of a beer company, they do put out very, very good stuff, and I do enjoy it.
Cool. So do you want to get? I'll give you the floor once again if you want to go right into a little review of some Dirty Bastard Ale. I don't recall ever having that beer, so I'm curious to hear about it.
Well, this one and the other ones I mentioned, the Backwoods, both, again, Scotch ales. If you smell these Scotch ales, immediately you get the scent of maybe molasses or some honey sent to these beers immediately, or like some brown sugar. But it definitely has, you can smell the pungent of the alcohol already in this. So, it has this sugary, sweet, brown sugar, baked, molasses sort of scent to this. And again, I like the head up top. You think you're drinking a stout, but you're not. But it's very frothy up top, as you can see. It's a nice little, foamy type head up here. Looks like the typical head for maybe for a Guinness, but obviously it's not a Guinness, but but it has that sort of same sort of head to it. And as far as the taste, I said it's very malty. It has that same quality. As I said, you taste maybe a bit of a coffee, but it also is a lot more sugar, more brown than it has a little dark finish. It has a rough finish going down, like you said, taking something very bitter, something like a bit burnt. But overall, it has that little tinge of sweetness to it. So again, this is one of these sip sort of beers, not to guzzle quickly.
Yeah, I can imagine. At 8.5, yeah, nice, easy drinking beer for the evening, sure, or a nice beer, easy sit down and just chill out.
Sit outside, late in the evening, just kind of, sip a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there. Maybe it's a little bit too warm to do it tonight here, but yeah.
They say Founders Brewing Company on the inside of the bottle caps brew. If you can see that, maybe it says brewed for us. It does not want to focus, but it definitely says, there it is, brewed for us.
Yes.
And what was brewed for us on my end of the world? Oh, well.
There it is, right there. Mine's is the same thing.
We'll get to ratings a little later. I'm sure some other people will show up, but if it's just John and I, so be it for the moment. I'm having a good time anyway. So this beer is the Centennial IPA, and the Centennial IPA is just brewed with a singular hop, similar to Two Hearted Ale from Bell's. They also only use Centennial hops.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, only Centennial hops in this one. You can see where the lacing was. You can see where some lacing is. That's where the head reached in the beer. In the camera here, it has a extremely dark orange, almost purplish color, but definitely more in the light. It's got a dark, rusty, copper, kind of a burnt orangey kind of a look to it. Kind of like what you would expect out of a West Coast IPA.
Mm-hmm.
And the head has got that off-white, tan, khaki look to it with, as you can see there from the head, some moderate carbonation. The smell on this thing is very, it's very tropical, not like juicy notes, but it's very upfront, pineapple and a lot of grapefruit in there. There's some pininess to it. There's definitely the caramel and toffee like malt. There's a toasty kind of a malt quality. There's a little bit of a resin quality, not a huge amount of oil, but a little bit of oils I can smell in there. A sweet bready malt underneath everything, and almost like a little bit of that resin is kind of piney in a way. Some people
Mm-hmm.
I've heard say it's florally, but I'm not getting those kind of floral hops. I'm basically getting the tropical and the pine resin and your typical West Coast IPA malty character. So doesn't smell too huge, but it does smell pretty good, even from the end of May for an IPA. So here's on that note of August 1st, 2018. Cheers, everybody.
Now, again, the ABV on this is what again, Eric?
I believe it's 7.2% alcohol by volume.
Okay. Which is, I guess you could categorize it maybe as a, I guess maybe it's unfair to say maybe a, I wouldn't put it maybe it's not a double or maybe an imperial IPA. I could be wrong in that description.
Yeah, I really think it depends on what the brewery is going for, and I think each brewery is going to be a little bit different. But I think if somebody called a 7.2% IPA a double IPA, I wouldn't disagree. But this definitely doesn't have, going to your point there, this definitely doesn't have the big, massive body or the heftier body for me that makes it feel like an imperial beer. Although Steel Reserve is a different beer altogether. That doesn't necessarily
Yes.
taste like 8.1, even though it is imperial. But this one definitely has a straight up medium body. It's crisp, clean, and it's pretty awesomely refreshing. I like that moderate carbonation. It's not too heavy at all. It's perfect in the glass where the carbonation helps for the beer to go down smoothly. So the flavors are just like the nose I described in the aromas.
Right. Right.
They're very,
Yeah.
very grapefruit and with a little bit of that pine resin at the end of the sip, and then it dries pretty much immediately. I'm left with a little bit of the IBUs in the back of the mouth. There's a little bit of bittering. It's not annoying. It doesn't bother me, but it's still there a little bit. Definitely the sweet bready malts are there. Definitely that toasty kind of a malt character is in there, and definitely that caramel and that toffee malt. But everything's done, and not even floral. I guess maybe there's a little bit more of a florally presence in the beer now that I think about that. But the
Right.
slightest, I shouldn't say the slightest hint, but you're left, the beer is leaving you at the beginning of the sip with all of the Centennial hop qualities, and then you're getting the 65 IBUs at the end of
Do
the
you
sip.
need me to come
At
back
the
over
end of the
there
sip is where all of
with
that
you
comes from.
and do the
But
mid part?
this is not too much of anything without being uninteresting. There's still a lot going on, but the drinkability is astronomically high on this thing. So even if you don't think that you're a really big IPA fan, now I've had so many IPAs in my life, I would say, well, this is the one to go out and try. But this should be high on the list of ones to try if you like IPAs, and even if you don't even know that you like IPAs, but you like pale ales or even some maltier beers, you might like the Founders Centennial IPA. So I mean, so far so good. Can't really complain right now. It's a tasty beer without weighing you down too much.
Well, like I always said, these style IPAs I more gravitate towards than the sort of the session IPAs. And they're more full body, full flavored. Those are the ones I tend to really say, I really can dig that and really can kind of really like get that full flavor of the hops and the full flavor of the malts of that day, more so the hops than anything. And that's a perfect glass to drink it in. Me, I usually drinking these beers in these water goblets that you see me doing from time to time. But would you compare this? Maybe it's unfair to comparison. Would you compare this to maybe the something from the Rebel line that Sam Adams puts out, or maybe
I think the best beer to compare this to, since this is also a single hopped with Centennial hops, the Bell's Two Hearted Ale is in the similar ABV range, and that beer is only hopped with a Centennial hop. So we just got the Bell's Brewing Company in Massachusetts, I think around the end of June. So we haven't had Bell's for even 3 months yet. So it's very new to me, the Bell's. I know Bell's is not new beer. It is just not in craft beer. It took the East Coast way too long to get Bell's beers. I'm pretty happy with even the Two Hearted Ale that I've tried. I'm going to try to pick up maybe Kalamazoo Stout for next week. We'll see. I got that.
I don't have it, but we get it. We get it.
They have the Two Hearted Ale that I see. They have Oberon Ale, which is their wheat ale. I see
I got that.
Kalamazoo Stout.
And the amber.
There might be amber I've seen too, but yeah, definitely Two Hearted Ale from Bell's is what I think best can compare to the Centennial IPA here. I will not spoil that beer, but I think the Bell's might have a little bit more character and stuff going on and complexity. But
definitely the Two Hearted Ale. I would agree with that.
I would say that definitely Centennial IPA is the one to choose if you're looking for an easy drinking IPA and you want something with a little bit of hair on its chest at 7.2, I suppose, percent alcohol by volume.
Yeah. Also,
go ahead.
How's the? Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, Art.
I was going to say, how is the beer holding up right now? Is it changing any since it's been in the glass?
Just slightly little right now. Like I said, since I've had it in my in the fridge for a good while now. Before we started this review, and I've had it on the ground while you and I've been talking. It's slowly crept up a little warm, and you can start to feel a little bit of that flavor right now, a little bit of that kick in this. So, and still, I'm digging it. So. It's just a shame, and is it like with this one here, with stuff from Founders, even though obviously everything takes time in terms of what you can get, in terms of reaching your certain area, your certain cities, like I said, yours you started getting Founders stuff like in June, you said.
The Bell's Brewing Company.
Bell's. I'm sorry. The Bell's
Founders
stuff,
has been around. Founders has luckily been around for a long while, so that is good news.
Yeah, and the Bell's we've had Bell's here for almost 3-4 years. We've got a lot of the Bell's beers, so from what I can remember. But so it slowly began to gotten up, and like I said, certain markets. They'll keep the ones that are very popular, and they'll get rid of the ones that are not doing well. And as for Bell's, it's the Two Hearted Ale, and it's the Amber Ale, and the Kalamazoo Stout.
Wow!
And I think for those three, and that's it. And then we did have the Midwestern something else. It was called something Midwestern something. I think
Stout,
if I ever
IPA, porter, Belgian
might
beer.
might have been that. But
Might have
but
been
those are
one of
the
those.
three. But those are the three I have mentioned that we get here. So if it's doing well, they'll sell. They'll keep it. If it's not, then different things will just won't matter. And so kind of how
Interesting.
it goes.
So, to recap, before we get to the rest of our panel here, I am drinking, once again, Centennial IPA, 7.2, 65 IBUs. Our good buddy, Jean H. Pierre, hold up that beer and say that name again.
The founders, Dirty Bastard, 8.5, 50 IBUs.
So far, we are both loving our beers.
I almost bought that one today.
All right, so now we got a party going. Maybe Michael Komaroff will show up. Maybe Gary Owens might come in a little bit from our Beer Talk 2018 of Facebook. But today, we also have with us Jay Terry of Louisiana Beer Reviews and John Anele from YouTube. John Anele, Noonan, Georgia. Hello.
Good evening, Jay. Good evening, John.
If it is Founders Beers you have this evening, which ones have you brought?
Well, I've got Founders Wizard of Kaz. This is a really interesting one. It's an imperial stout brewed with blueberries, chocolate, and vanilla, and it's aged in bourbon barrels. It's 10.5% alcohol.
Ooh, about to go down.
What would you say about that, John, in the summertime?
Hey, again, it's a sip beer to sit outside on the front porch. And that's it. Don't guzzle two more and say, "Hey, babe, I'll be back. I'm gonna go work outside on the on this lawnmower engine." So,
hey, but Jean and Eric, get ready because we just finished drinking some 18% dessert wine.
Woo! Oh shit!
Oh,
it is very lively, folks.
You heard what I said? 18% dessert wine. All right. Let me say this. Let me say this, Eric. I have noticed a very bad deterioration in the popularity of Founders and Bell's down here. Thurns had two Founders beers. The KBS, no, they had three. KBS, the one Jean has, what is that?
Bastard. Dirty Bastard.
They sold out of the Backwoods Bastard. And they have the one I brought, which I'm about to show you. They had two Bell's beers. They had Bell's Two Hearted, which I bought because I was confused like you were. And then they had Bell's Lager of the Lakes. Those things don't look like they're moving at all. They got stuff that was bottled back in 2017. I said, oh boy. It's amazing how Bell's was hitting. 4 years ago, everybody was like super excited. And now, and they had that Bell's Cherry beer, which is
Guys, hold on 1 second. I'll be right back. I'm sorry, Jay. Go ahead.
A cherry beer is $6.89 a bottle. Holy moly. I'm going to get mine. I'll be right back in less than 10 seconds.
All right. Have you managed to get your beer poured into a glass, John Anele?
I did. I got it under control. It
Nice.
looks delightful.
Dogfish head glass I see there. I like it.
Yeah. It's etched too, so it kind of brings out a little bit more of the head and the carbonation.
Right on.
It smells awesome. You get a little bit of the blueberry chocolate, some dark chocolate. It's the weirdest thing, but I'm also picking up, and maybe it's from the bourbon barrels, and this beer has been aged for quite a while. I'm pretty sure this beer has been sitting on the shelf for 2 years. I mean, it was there when I moved. It's been there at least 8 months since I moved to part of Georgia I'm in now. It's got a root beer, a slight root beer aroma too, which is really interesting.
Maybe anise or licorice.
Yeah. It smells amazing, and there's no alcohol on the nose. I mean, at 10.5%, there's no booziness with it. It smells almost like a chocolate soda. I mean, it smells really good, and you do get the blueberry, which makes it probably adds to the sweetness as well. I don't know if they're probably using like a blueberry puree, if I had to guess.
Yeah, probably.
But it smells good.
This beer I'm drinking is 12.25% alcohol.
Holy moly.
That one's also. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
65 IBUs. It's aged in bourbon barrels. It's called Dankwood. It's a hoppy red ale. They say it's an red IPA, but you know it's really a hoppy red ale. It was $3.99 for the bottle.
Sounds delicious right there. I do like red ales when done right.
You ever had the Dankwood?
I don't think so.
It's part of their
The
barrel.
highest one I've had is KBS, probably an ABV from Founders.
Yeah, it's part of their barrel age series. Now I do like the Centennial that you have. Okay, so I'll pour it. I hope this doesn't get me too. Well, you can fill in the blank there.
Centennial is pretty refreshing right now, which is cool at 7.2%.
What is it again?
7.2%, and it's actually really quite refreshing.
Yeah, that's more where I want to be. Now look at this brown. Yeah, because 12.25 is just too much, you know.
That's
brown,
the perfect size for that glass, yeah.
Yeah, brown, reddish brown. What's the head? Little
off-white.
Yeah, that's a good description. Bone colored, maybe. Whoa! Now, it's very fruity in the aroma. I mean, you ever had? I don't know. It's like some kind of orange juice or citrus, a bright citrus burst. It is so citrusy. Now, that is what it smells like. And I know you guys like that juicy stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And this is
like a New England style IPA, you mean?
I don't know. It's
hazy beers for days, man.
No, this one's not hazy. It's just a very intense, juicy aroma.
Ooh, it sounds so delicious.
Am I thinking of like an apricot or even what are those things called? Plums or something? I don't know. It is strong. It is much more juicier than beers that claim to be juicy. Now the taste.
What beer are you drinking, Jay?
Imperial Red Ale.
Dankwood.
Dankwood from Founders. Okay. What's the ABV and all that good stuff?
Hear this one out.
Okay. 12.25, Sean. 12.25.
Whoa, mamma mia.
And I just drank 18% wine, so I want to. There's a disclaimer that I'm not responsible for any.
Good thing you're home. Good thing you're home.
Real fast. We got Josh Wooler live. I liked Dankwood more than KBS. May have to revisit it as I've only had one. Cheers, Josh, and hello, welcome to the show.
Hey, Josh.
KBS is awesome. I wish I had a bottle left to do a review, but I couldn't. I drank all of it.
I could have bought so much KBS today, but I was not paying $6 a bottle. I was not paying $5.99. No way.
I actually went to buy a couple more bottles today, and it was gone. So I won't be able to get it again until the 2019 release is upon us. So
we got cases here. You can drive here and get cases. This is so strong.
I might have to.
This is so strong. Bourbon barrel. It is incredible. It's wood. It's juice. It's like cherries. Okay.
Sounds like bourbon.
Tart, cherries, juicy, bourbon barrel wood. The body's not too heavy though.
Danger.
The finish is mostly dry. It is. Now my friend David didn't like it too much. I think he gave it a B-. I said, what the what? But I gave it an A. I gave it an 8. So we just, if you watch our videos, we don't agree too much. We agree sometimes. But he said, oh, this stuff. And he was kind of complaining. But I said, no, it's so good, And I think it's improved as it's aged. Now, generally, IPAs don't improve. But this is not a real IPA. It's a hoppy red ale, and it's jacked up to a high ABV. And I would highly recommend it. It is worth $3.99.
How much was the bottle? $3.99?
$3.99.
Holy crap! Wow.
12-ounce bottle.
12-ounce bottle. 12 but you got to be careful. This is no joke. I mean,
12.5 ABV. Yeah.
That's a cheap beer. Damn.
Yeah, you got to be at your house if you drink this. You cannot be. And I was really scared because I was thinking about this. I said, I don't know. I said, we're going to start drinking that Taylor cream sherry. And, you know, that stuff's so good, you want to keep drinking it. And I said, I got to be careful. That's why I was sipping it. Y'all saw me, John, I was sipping it so slow. And I said, because oh, no,
I was sipping it.
This stuff here is so strong. Anyway, oh my gosh, golly gee whiz, and et cetera, and et cetera.
So that is almost too strong to pair with foods, or do you need like really pungent foods to pair with that maybe?
I'm trying to think what could. Go ahead.
Like a giant burger cheese or a stinky, funky cheese?
No, I think it would pair well with like fruit salad with coconut shavings and a lot of red grapes and wedges of honeydew melon and cantaloupe and cherries, of course.
Wow.
And maybe a few little peanuts or walnuts or what are those seeds that people always put in the salad or something like that? Yeah, you know, it really go well with that. Yeah.
Pine nuts or something like that?
No, not pine nuts. Some kind of seeds or something. I don't know. But
sunflower, pumpkin.
Yeah. That's what. Yeah. You watching the Cubs? Hey, you watching the Cubs? I don't.
That's on MLB. It's on MLB Network. The game's on.
Never mind. Yeah. I don't have.
Sweet. Yeah. So, what else are you pulling out of this beer? Anything else noteworthy to mention?
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I thought James Madonna might join us, but I guess he felt funny not having the Founders beer. He seemed like he wanted to join, but he only had Yingling and Genesee Cream Ale, so he was reluctant. I said he could join them, but there's Bourbon Barrel. I think they use Heaven Hill bourbon barrels.
How about
overly bourbon oriented, but there's that background taste. I would highly recommend it if you want to pay $3.99 and you're not opposed to paying that plus tax. It cost me $4 and I'll tell you right here what it cost me. It cost me $4.38 after tax.
Wow.
But it's so dynamite. It's one of the best beers I've had in the last 12 months.
And what's the style of it again? What kind of style? Would it be a fruit flavored beer, or what style would you call it?
No, it's got no fruit in it. It's water, barley malt, hops, yeast, aged in bourbon barrel. It says, Jean, an Imperial Red India Pale Ale. But you know what it really is? It's a hoppy red ale.
Yeah.
Remember about 10 years ago when everything started being an IPA?
Is it in the same category as Lafrique? It says that, well, Lafrique is more of a Belgium. I say Belgium Indian Pale Ale, but is that maybe in the same category, or obviously the ABV that I guess makes it, I guess, not the same.
No,
not the same category.
I don't think it's like Lafrique. It was bottled on April 18th, 12.21% alcohol, rich caramel notes. Yep. Strong malt character, yes. Barrel aging develops a complexity. A dank, sticky, slightly sweet sipper. Dankwood is the perfect alchemy of wood and hops. A palate stunner that'll send your senses spinning, or as we call it, Dankwood. It really does send your senses spinning, and if you drink too much, it'll send your head spinning. But I like it maybe more than KBS because, I don't know, KBS is just so strong, you know, but I mean, I like it.
I'm trying to think of meats I could prepare this thing with. Something more, I can't think of pasta dishes, but I'm thinking more like meat, something. It can't be red meat. It has to be something poultry, right? Turkey, chicken, duck, something like that. I don't know.
You're drinking that dirty.
Dirty bastard. Yeah.
How about
No, I'm talking about the beer you're drinking. Jay.
Oh yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah. This one with the Dirty Bastard, I'm thinking more like a dark meat, like a roast or something, a stew, beef stew.
I was gonna say brown gravy meatloaf.
Right.
With some broccoli and cheese and a lot of onions and yeah. This stuff here, I don't know if you'd want to eat any food with it because it's so dang intense, man.
Yeah, well, you got to have something to kind of suck up all the booze. So
Yeah, it's called my bed.
Well, while you sip and enjoy on some of that beer, I'm curious to hear on James. Good evening. Hello, sir. Thank you for stopping by.
Gentleman from Massachusetts. How are you today?
Good. Doing the Founders beers this evening.
Okay, I'm just an observer with a Yinling lager. That's all I am.
Excellent. Okay. Not bad choice at all. I want to hear about John Anile and his crazy beer he's got this evening.
All right. And I didn't mention the price earlier. This is not an everyday drinker. It's kind of a special occasion. This beer has been sitting on the shelf for a while. This was a $17.99 bottle. Just throwing that out there. So it's not like $3.99 for Jay's. I mean, it sounds like a great deal for the ABV and all the bourbon complexity that he was getting. But you know what? This bomber here has got a lot of good stuff going for it too. That root beer thing I was getting follows through a little bit on the palate. There's definitely dark chocolate and semi-sweet chocolate. There's some vanilla in there. The barrel presence from the bourbon barrels is coming through a little bit, which I think I'm getting maybe some vanilla from the bourbon barrels and not like an added flavor of vanilla. I think the vanilla is coming from those barrels. I mean, it's not boozy at all. You could get into a lot of trouble with this also, much like the cream sherry we did earlier. This is, man, this is just so good. I've had so many world-class stouts lately. Like the KBS was awesome. This is right up there with the KBS, Speedway Stout, Goose Islands, Bourbon Barrel Stout. I mean, this is up there. And I think if it was a super fresh bottle, there would be a little bit more bitterness. I'm not getting any hop bite or anything like that, which for me is fine because that blueberry puree is coming through nicely. It's super sweet and chocolatey and malty, and it's got that woody component from the bourbon barrels. I mean, I just can't say enough good things about this beer. I don't know if anybody out there can find this beer. I have a feeling that this beer has been aged for a couple years. It's been semi-cellared, I guess you could say, on the shelf in the dark room at the package store that I bought it at Peachtree City. But I mean, it's really, really just awesome stuff.
Hey,
iguana on the label.
Hey, an iguana. Hey, David Garlipede, who does duo reviews with me. He said he tried the Lizard of Cos and he liked it. He said it was really good. I never tried it. And I know they're trying to make a playoff of Blizzard of Oz from 1980.
Right.
I know that, but that's okay.
Yeah, the name, I don't really get the name and how it has anything to do with a blueberry chocolate vanilla infused bourbon barrel stout, but I mean, whatever.
Whatever.
She's a
good. That's all that matters.
Jean-Pierre.
Yes.
Guess what? James Madonna is from New Jersey. He lives in New Jersey.
Yeah, we had talked the last time. I remember him.
That's right. Y'all talked about it.
Long, many moons ago.
What's going on, James? Yes, James. How you doing, my friend?
Very good. You said you were from not too far from Philadelphia originally?
From actually Montclair, about 40 minutes outside New York City, the whole Essex County area. So
Montclair, Nutley, yeah. Great. The taxes are sky high now.
Damn, too sky high. I'm trying to convince my parents to get the hell out of Jersey for good. Just bail out and just come in when you just visit. Don't Just get out of there now.
A lot of nice restaurants and cafes in Montclair, but as far as property taxes, they'll kill you.
Damn, very much so. Yes.
So we have a Yingling beer. If you wish to do a quick review on Yingling beer this evening.
Well, Yingling, what can you say? So, from what I understand, a family-owned business. 1829, America's oldest brewery, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. And the only thing I can say about this lager, although I have tried their Lord Chesterfield Ale, which wasn't bad, and their porter, well, not porter, yeah, the Yingling porter is not too bad. Balance is the only word I can come up with between the malted barley and the bitterness of hops. It's very well balanced. Probably the strongest dark beer I ever had, and Mr. Tirio knows about it. Is a Polish company called I'm going to try to pronounce it. Zawick Porter. I'm probably doing it the wrong.
I think that's
pronouncing it properly.
Oh yeah, Zviech.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Oh, it was a big bottle.
Polish names, yeah.
I get a local. There's a local Polish community, and they got all the smoked sausage places, where they smoke everything on the premises, and I go there, and I'll get it once in a while, and it's pretty potent.
10% alcohol.
Oh yeah.
Zawick or something like that.
Yes, it's a stout porter. It'll knock you out.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's pretty.
Started in 1860, also. 1860.
1860.
Yeah.
So
Before Poland was an independent country.
Oh, like Genesee Cream Ale, 140 years, but they have no tours in Rochester.
It was so irritating. What now?
That's weird.
Yeah, what the heck is that? I'm trying to think of a rock club. I know I digress. In Montclair, there was a famous rock club there with a band.
Tyrannies? Is it Tyrannies?
Well, that's probably. I know Trumpets, jazz club.
You got Trumpets, and then you got Tyrannies, which is kind of like a bar that they do. There's sometimes there are bands that will perform there from time to time.
Washington Avenue, I think. Is that Washington? The one that goes into Bloomfield.
I think I know what you're saying, but the name escapes me right now.
Trumpets, at least, yeah, you know exactly.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they have outdoor performances in summer on Chestnut Street, I think.
Yes, correct.
Jazz perform. I played my drum there with other people, and I play this drum called a djembe. It's an African drum, like a conga. And then there were other people, musicians, violinists, mimes, and jazz players, and it was a lot of fun, But anyway, back to beer.
Oh, Eric.
Yeah.
Michael Komaroff was trying to join, but he was having trouble getting connected. So he said,
I don't know exactly what to say to Michael Komaroff. If you're on a 4G connection, that might be difficult. If you're on your Wi-Fi, I have sent the link to you on Google Hangouts. You need to click on that link and get yourself onto Wi-Fi. If you're not on Wi-Fi to do any of this, it's going to be very difficult to keep your connection possible on this video.
He said that he could click on the link, but it went to a blank Hangout where nobody was. I don't know if there's any way to call him directly to where it'll ring on.
I can try to add Michael Komaroff right now to this video. And
he said if worse comes to worse, he'll just do a written review and send it to us on Beer Talk.
Well, I'll try to add him right now. You should be added to this video now.
I'm picking up some Fig Newton. I'm picking up
Tankwood Imperial Red. Yes. Continue.
Yeah, I'm picking up Fig Newton. I'm picking up dates. I'm picking up all these rich characteristics. Now, let me put this in perspective. This is not the kind of thing you would want to drink on a daily basis or even a weekly basis. Maybe 4 times a year you could tolerate it because it's so intense, it's so strong, It's so unrelenting. It is not designed as an everyday drinker. James is drinking an everyday drinker, Yingling, you know. But this, it's an experience, and it's designed to be that kind of thing. You know, we've all drank those kind of beers, those experience beers. Yeah. But heck, for $3.99, it's a winner. I would recommend it. And that's really all I gotta say.
Instead of an iguana, he should have put something gothic, like a gargoyle on it or something, you know, being that it's so powerful.
Or they could have put Ozzy Osbourne, but they couldn't copyright problems. Copyright.
So I'm drinking the well, yeah, Josh says, speaking of founders, how many on here have tried solid gold? It's not a big hit in my market, charging a premium price for what may be considered regular beer doesn't work very well. I still have some of the Founder Solid Gold, and I was able to get a 15-pack of it for $11.99. That to me is not such a bad price. I like that. I think it's a very well done beer, and for me personally, I don't feel Founder Solid Gold is just an American kind of a pale lager, but for me, I feel as though it is the perfect beer it's got the perfect price point on that beer. At least Founders thought about charging the price for that beer appropriately. They didn't just charge $18 for a 12-pack of it just because it's a craftier beer, right?
Right. I mean, I like the Solid Gold, but it's not the greatest thing.
True. I don't think they went out to design it to be such. But
you're right.
I'm almost done with some Founders Centennial IPA, and I am definitely noticing that that the perceived 65 IBUs comes out further as the beer warms. I'm getting more of a stickier kind of a body and a malt to it, more of a medium to full on the medium side, and I'm now starting to notice that it is a little bit more orangey in its overall taste.
Orange.
And I have finished said beer. And if I had to give a review or a grade right now, it's actually a little bit sticky resinous at this point. That's kind of cool. Actually, it is way more bitter when it gets to room temperature. That's really cool. Initially, the bitterness was all at the end, and it wasn't too heavy, and it just played nice with the malts. Now it's really a star of the show, but it's still very malty and toasty in the caramel and toffee kind of malts. Sweet bready. What would I say? I would have to say, I mean, I don't want to go extremely, extremely high because I think this is an exceptionally good beer for anybody that would like IPAs, and anybody that doesn't think they like IPAs, this could be a good one to give a try. I mean, an 89 for me, I think, is a really great rating out of 100 for this. So the only thing that I would wish to change is maybe, I don't know, maybe either more of the Centennial hop or maybe more malts to give it a little bit more roundness or a little bit more complexity to this. Now, if you want a bigger, bolder beer, definitely, and you have this beer on hand, definitely drink this warmer. It tastes much more reserved and easier to drink when it was cooler. Not to say that it doesn't drink really good when it warms up, but I would say either if they put more hops into this or they bumped up the maltiness on the beer a little bit more, I think it would be a little bit more interesting and slightly more complex. But as it stands right now, pretty good, but definitely one-dimensional with that Centennial hop, but they're definitely doing the Centennial hop thing very nicely. So not a West Coast, not an East Coast. It's kind of in the middle between both of those coasts. So I like it.
I think it's a West Coast myself, and I give it an A. I think it's excellent.
Thomas, when you use the term bready, are you referring to the aroma and flavor of yeast?
Oh, right. You talked about that, James.
Yeah, I'm referring to the malty, the malt quality. At least in this beer, the malts have a nice brown or like a white, toasty, white, bready caramel toffee kind of.
Right, like Ovaltine.
Yeah.
There's two Ovaltines. There's one made for the United States is loaded with sugar, and then there's the one that goes to Asia and Europe, which is barley malt extract is the #1 ingredient. So the
It's
flavor,
definitely more of a barley malt. Yes.
barley malt.
correct.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah. So, Jean, what are you doing over there? Hello, Jean HPA.
Yes. Sorry. Just looking at I put a post earlier about DirecTV. Yeah. I put a post about DirecTV, and I got tired of the damn weather delays, so I'm looking at trying to cut my service and maybe go DirecTV now or whatever, or just cut the cord, just still have my internet, just stream Netflix and different things, and so I'm just trying to just hearing some responses from different people. That's all.
Where
And
are you at?
I responded to your comment, Eric Thomas Meadow.
Where are you? Cool. But where are you at the end of a Dirty Bastard Ale? Where are you with the beer? Have you finished your beer? What are your final thoughts?
Here it is right there. My final thoughts on the beer. I give this thing A-. Very good Scotch ale. Very enjoyable. And like I said, I'm feeling very good right now. So
yeah.
Don't feel too good. Hey, where's Tyler? Where's Tyler Mansell? Where's Tyler?
No clue, good sir. None.
Just asking.
I did look for Tyler. No response from that guy.
He could be working. He got a job out there in Seattle. So.
Oh, right. It's only 5:30 over there.
He's a web developer for some company that makes mobile application games. There you go. That's crazy. That's what he wants to do. I like it. Cool. But let's go to John Anile. Where are you on your rating of your Lizard of Beer?
Yes.
Lizard of Cause. It's up there. Like I said, I've had so many excellent going on world-class stouts lately. One of them was from Founders at KBS. I think the KBS is a little bit better. This is up there though, and maybe if it was a super fresh bottle, a little bit of bitterness from the hops might balance it out a little bit more. This is definitely on the sweet side. That blueberry, you get the sweet chocolate flavors, and then the blueberry puree or whatever they're using to get that blueberry flavor adds a lot of sweetness as well. So if you're a big hoppy guy, you might not like this because it's definitely malt forward, sweet. But I will say that it's not boozy. The alcohol is masked well. I mean, it's really like a dessert beer. I mean, it's with the chocolate, the vanilla, the caramel sweetness, the blueberry, that root beer type thing that's going on with it.
Interesting.
It is, and it's got a woodiness to it from the bourbon barrels also, which that balances out a little bit. But, I mean, it's definitely sweet. It's up there, I think. For a rating, I would go. I'm gonna go 95. It could be a little bit more balanced. I mean, it's up there. It's a solid A, but for me to get up there closer to world class, it would have to be a little bit more balanced because, like I said, it is a malt bomb. You could pour this over ice cream and have a float or it's as desserty as a beer can get as possible.
All right.
But it's still great. And I think the IBUs are probably up there. I think that because it's aged for, I would guess, at least a year, it's lost a lot of that hop complexity that it would have had otherwise.
Well, damn, that's a pretty good rating. Cheers to that beer, yeah. We have a Yingling lager beer that I am dying to hear a rating of. Do you have a rating for a Yingling traditional lager?
I'm a repeat customer. I'd say Yingling, as lagers go, I would give it. I mean, to be honest, a B plus. A B plus because I've had more potent lagers, but I can't complain about the $7 for 6. I can't complain about the low prices that Yingling maintains for the versus the quality, And it's still a family-owned business, so I'd say like a B plus.
Gotcha.
First
We
lot.
have Bart Robinson is live. Hello once again. We got to get you on this thing. I keep saying this every week. You're going to join one day.
Where's Mark?
He says, greetings, guys, from deep southern New Jersey. So another New Jersey boy. Couldn't get
Where
Founders
the Jersey
today.
Devils.
Couldn't get Founders today, so I'm enjoying a cold Schlitz and cooking some burgers as I enjoy your chat.
All
Oh,
right.
man, that sounds
Here's to
awesome.
Bart.
That's pretty
Hey, we gotta
good.
do it.
To the Pine Barrens.
Yeah.
The Jersey.
So I never heard from John or from Jay, but
No,
John, when John and I started the review, and as we normally do on the Wednesday nights, we like to ask about what our thoughts going into the examination topic are. But we can recap with everybody here tonight, starting with John. Have your thoughts since you started with the Founders Beer examination? Have they changed any? Are they the same?
About the
Or
same.
Are they better than expected?
About the same. Again, a very positive review of their beers. Like I said, we get the Solid Gold, the Centennial, we get the All Day Session IPA, the Dirty Bastard, as well as the Backwoods. All their beers that I've had are quite good, and I think that the feelings, as I mentioned to you, are about the same as it was now. I'm not going to say they're the greatest ever, but it's good. So.
Good stuff, yeah.
Ooh, yep.
I've always liked Founders. I mean, going into this examination, the Breakfast Stout and the KBS are among two of my favorite stouts out there. I think particularly with stouts, they make world-class products. The Lizard of Kaz, another stout, also excellent. I've had their Devil Dancer Triple IPA. I've had a couple of their other offerings. I'd like to try some of the Centennial IPA, maybe the Dankwood, some of their hoppier varieties. But I think they've always made excellent products, and this Lizard of Kaz Imperial Stout has only, made me think that even more. And the 10.5% is not hurting either, especially after drinking that cream sherry. So maybe tomorrow, if I were to reevaluate, I might have a lower. My thoughts might not be as pleasant, but I mean, this is hitting the spot. So this is good stuff.
All right, Jay Terrio, your final thoughts on Founders Brewing Company.
Well, my thoughts on Founders are positive. I'm not an anti-Founderite, but I can't make other people buy Founders beer. I buy them when they come out. I drink them, but it seems that over the last 10 years, it's sort of done. It was like, let's say 2008. Okay, so it was like doing this, right? And then in the last 2 years, or even the last year, maybe it's starting to do this, starting to go into a relative decline. And there's nothing I can do about that. I can say, oh yeah, I like it. They have pretty good prices. I love Founders Porter. Oh, that's right. Mathern said Founders Porter also. But I can't make people buy it. It's not my job. And, I talk about that. It's not my job to keep Founders in business. I wish people would buy it and drink it, and enjoy it. I like it. I've always been pleased with Founders, but it is what it is. Are they ripe for a buyout? Oh wait, they got bought out, right? Oh, that's right.
Yes,
Never mind.
yes, they did. We did talk about that early on. We did.
So maybe
30%
Founders will start to increase their distribution again in your area, Jay.
Yeah, there's 30%.
No, it's in our area, but they don't carry it because it doesn't sell.
Yeah, there's 30% of the brewery that is owned by those people that are owned by the San Miguel. It's owned by the San Miguel people.
Okay, so I like Founders,
and apparently, according to the Brewers Association or whatever it is, you can still be called craft beer in their terminology as long as you're not as long as you're at least 25% or less owned by a macro brewery. So technically, in those terminologies, that Founders is no longer a craft brewery. But as long as they're putting out good beers, who really cares what they're classified as, right?
I don't care because that's an arbitrary standard that they have changed over the years numerous times to keep Samuel Adams in their portfolio. So that's a joke. You're right. I don't care who makes it. I don't care who owns it. I care about the quality. The quality is there, but I can't make people buy it. I cannot make people buy Bell's. I can't make people buy Ballast Point. But hey, no big deal.
Yeah. Every beer is crafted. Not every beer is good. So who cares about what the criteria are to classify a beer as craft? If it's good and it's a solid A beer, it's crafted well. So it's craft in my book, regardless of who owns it or what the barrel number is. That's just an arbitrary figure in my eyes. So.
Yeah.
That's what now?
People mock me out for getting a Genesee cream ale at $4.49 for 6, and so that goes hand in hand with what John just said.
I love that beer too, James. That's an awesome beer.
Me too. Same here.
I would never mock you for that. I would only be envious because I can't get it.
Well, the highfalutin snooty snobs, they look down their nose at Genesee. Oh, $4.49. It's
yeah, but they'll make a I better not say anything because I was going to talk about Cheese Whiz, but never mind.
Oh, now don't get me started. Hold on, where's my bell?
Genesee cream ale. Genesee, as much as people like to diss that beer, it is a really phenomenal beer. They've been making it since 1960. Nothing wrong with it. Still going strong.
Absolutely.
So,
and I'm 20 minutes north of Montclair.
Yes.
If I went to Chicky, if I was in Philadelphia and I went to Chicky and Pete's, I would get a Genesee cream ale and drink it with a Chicky and Pete's Philly cheesesteak. But I probably would go to the Palladium. And get a more authentic Philly cheesesteak. But whatever.
Well, I've had Philly cheesesteak with real good cheese on it, by the way, Mr. Tirio. Not no Velveeta or Cheese Whiz. You could pick your cheese.
Right. But murmur, boo.
Yeah, I know. Oh, would I love to get under their skin and cook. I still get heckled and trolled by his people on YouTube. Now they're on because I blocked them on Facebook.
Same story here.
Oh, yeah, you too. But I let them have it. You should see how I tell them off, and then they stop. Oh man.
I'm a softie,
You know what I said? The last thing I said. I bet all of yous are aliases of a certain cheese whizzy someone. I bet I wouldn't put it past it if you're all aliases of that person that has a face that only a mother can love. Because I've seen his photo. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, who cares? Who cares?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but he's an ugly motherfucker. Oh. Excuse me. Anyway, I digress.
But great. I'm just going to end my thoughts on Founders the same way that I started. I think they do a really great job, and they don't gouge you. They don't normally gouge you. I mean, I think that they do a good job at value. They don't necessarily charge an arm and a leg for the beers that you're going to get. They're not the cheapest craft beers on the market, craftier beers, but certainly they aren't the most expensive craft beers on the market. I know that John Anele is drinking more of a higher end product from Founders, and they have a lot of high end products. They have a lot of their year round offerings, like a Centennial IPA, like the Founders Porter, which is at $1.99 near where Michael Kormroff lives, he says. So that's a good price. Dirty Bastard. The easy beers to acquire for not so much money. And think they do a really good job with the stouts and the hoppier beer. So if you can get
And-
Founders in your area,
Listen,
you'll be
I
a treat.
agree with Eric. I think you're right. You're on the right track.
And as we go and say goodbye for the evening, Gary Owens joins. Hello, Gary Owens.
Good evening, everybody.
Gary,
Have you ever had Founders? Have you ever had Founders Brewing Company beers? And if so, what are your thoughts?
To be honest, I went to all those places that you said that have any Founders beers here in Kingsport. I went to 2 different food cities. I went to a Circle K, and I also went to some other places here in Kingsport. Founders is not sold anywhere. I could not find any beers whatsoever for Founders. But Sierra Nevada and Lagunitas and local craft brews all over the place.
that's the way it goes sometimes, Gary.
Well, I do have what would be somewhat considered a craft beer. I'm sipping on some Budweiser Freedom Reserve Red Lager.
Craft beer.
Oh yeah, the red lager made with molasses.
Yeah. I mean, I would consider it craft beer because it's like Anheuser-Busch doing something with what is considered a regular beer, but doing something a little bit different with it. So.
Right, and get ready because around October we're going to see the Budweiser aged in bourbon barrels. Jim Beam.
I'll be on the lookout for it.
I'm excited about that one, guys.
Yeah, Budweiser made a deal with Jim Beam. They're going to age their beer in bourbon barrels. Well.
This will be, I guess, coming out around the fall season, I'm sure.
Yeah, football season, all
the fall, like going to Christmas.
Yeah, the bratwurst and the tailgating and all that stuff.
Huh.
Potato salad.
Good thing I have some smoked knockwurst in the freezer. You get me hungry. Wow.
Right. James, if you come to this town, you have to get some andouille sausage,
Andouille Louie. I think that would be a great name for a restaurant. Andouille. Yeah. Oh.
That big around.
It's like chorizo, right? Sort of like Spanish chorizo.
It's like an American. It is a very spicy. Yeah, it would. If you had to compare it to something, James, it'd probably be closest to, the chorizo.
Chorizo. Look at the size of it. Yeah, it's like you showed me like a. Yeah.
And you can get some chicken andouille gumbo with some potato salad. I mean, it's.
You like crawfish etouffee?
Yeah, they would all probably be really great with any one of our Founders beers this evening. Now, if anybody before we go off air, and I want to talk more about that. That sounds delicious. I have a couple of other examinations coming up for the rest of August, and then we have to come up with some topics after that. So we just did Founders Brewing Company. Thank you very much for joining on that review. Next week is the 8th of August. We're going to be reviewing the beers of Bell's Brewing Company, a not so new brewery, but relatively new in distribution where I live. Holy fucking thank you. A relatively new brewery for distribution in my area. Please control your volume, John H. Pierre, for Christ's sake. And then, August 15th, Jay's topic of discussion he thought of, and I like it. Either you bring a store brand beer or Trader Joe's brand beer. Yeah.
Yeah, private label beer. That's a thing,
August 15th. And then August 22nd, we have Anchor Brewing Company beer. So that's all I have on tap for now. We shall be discussing and coming up with some new topic ideas. And once we come up with them, you all will hear about them soon thereafter. So on behalf of John Anile, loudmouth John H. Pierre over there in Mobile talking to whoever that is, we got Jay Terrio, everybody else watching, Yingling, Founders, Red Reserve from Budweiser. This has been Thomas Metal 75. Drinking Founders. Cheers. Keep tasting those great beers, and we'll see you soon. It's been a wrap, everybody.
Wow, look at that. Luscious Lizard Lick beer.
Eric, you gotta
let him go out with a Bosun whistle.
Oh, you